So, good morning, my dear friends, English-speaking and German-speaking friends. As I promised, I will translate my second vodcast as well on this very nice sunny Sunday morning here in Budapest. And as you know, in my first podcast, I spoke about my early childhood things which I remember, and so in my second podcast, I'm planning to speak about me. And where was I 5 years ago? So after my divorce. Where was I 1 year ago? And where am I now? Okay? So, yeah. So basically, so there is a podcast already on YouTube, so I encourage you to follow me if you are interested in my life and my truth. Follow me on YouTube, and please like and subscribe to my channel, so I can gather 50 subscribers and be able to make podcasts and live content on YouTube as well, not only on Facebook. Okay, thank you. So 5 years ago, after my divorce in 2018-19, officially, I was enthusiastically working on my new job, where my past experience in the company helped a lot, because I had very challenging international projects. So, for example, one brownfield project in Vienna, which meant an old power plant was refurbished, and we need to design and deliver and assemble new condenser parts in there. That was a very special project, and also other special projects. So my past, where I worked in the company in the engineering, still, so 24 years in engineering, I had worked there, 6 years as a team lead of condenser design, 10 years as department head of the complete engineering, consisting condenser, steam turbine and piping areas. And basically, I always was more interested in the technical content. So I never seeked advancement in job for certain reason. I was not really looking for leading people, not at the beginning and not during my stages as a leader. I was always interested in the technical content, so not money or managerial tasks. So let's say one example is that when I was a department head, and there was a, let's say, capacity shortage in the team, I also did 2D drawings and drafting work for condenser parts to help, to aid the deadlines and the projects as a department head. So it was not something which I would not do. In the end, it also helped me a lot, because so 5 years ago, I was in a new position as a senior engineer, and I could rely also on my knowledge of draftsmanship when I have to check the drawings and part lists which I had to issue. So let's say, in a hindsight, I think that everything was running as it should be for me to able to grow during my business life. And yeah, so basically that was the situation 5 years ago. I was enjoying and enthusiastically working on my job in the company. In my private life, it was a little bit different, or a little much different, because after divorce, I lived alone and worked getting myself together in the shape of, let's say, feeling as before. And that meant I was often in apathy, like I was having really deep emotional phases where I had done nothing, and I had no urge to do anything at home. Because I did not see a reason to do anything, because nothing helped. I had the feeling, you know. So I looked at the ceiling from the bed and really did not know how to solve my inner struggle, you know. It was funny because there was, I remember one Saturday where I tried to stay in bed the whole day, you know, doing nothing. And let's say it did not work out well, because let's say the experience was that at the evening on that day, I had terrible back pains. So let's say, good that I tested it. I knew that this is not an option. So inactivity is not an option. I was realizing at that point. And then, let's say, due to coincidence, I found a YouTube small video where a private person in an English-speaking country described his experience about, or his idea and experience about how to get out of the rut. So that was the title was, How to Get Out of the Rut. I did not know what was the rut at that time, but it turned out to be very fitting to my situation. So basically, from that video, I understood that it was explaining that motivation to do something, doing something, and gratification, bliss at the end, that, ooh, that was good, let's do it again next time. That's not a linear thing. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. So he was explaining that I have to imagine it as a cycle. Since it's a cycle, it is not mattering where do I step into the cycle. So that's the realization which made me realize that when I wait to have motivation to do something, that's not the right path, because I don't have motivation, so I'm sitting and doing nothing. But since it's a cycle, I can step in doing something. And if I do something, I have the opportunity to have bliss and gratification, and that will feed back to motivation to do something again or something similar. So basically that was a great finding at that time, because instantly I made a list of all those topics which I like doing during my earlier life, my childhood, anything, all topics, and mostly those topics which involved interaction with other people and involved getting out from the flat and out from home, you know. So basically, yeah, I listed these activities, and that meant I was starting to enroll for let's say, for example, dance lessons in dance possibility groups, any dance which was the dance lesson, or rollerblade lessons for rollerblading, inline skating, and let's say, due to these activities, I was having a very great experience that, you know, getting to know people who are very kind and very nice, and they invited for other activities as well. So with the rollerblade people, we did go to paddling on the river. So let's say outdoor activities, which was very good experience for me, you know. So basically, let's say I realized that I felt good in certain communities, and that there are many nice people in the world. And that was a very good phase and the start for me to develop and getting out of the rut. Basically, the rut is not a good place to be, in the rut, to stuck in a rut and can't move right or left, stuck in place, because I held myself in place with my wrong thinking because of misinformation of myself. Yeah. So that was a phase, and after that there was a phase of a friend of mine reported to me that online dating has also positive experiences, and in his cases and his friends' cases, it resulted in marriages. So let's say I registered then in end of 2019 to an online dating app, and started to meet new people, new girls and women. Of course, let's say looking back, it was just an activity which I did deliberately by knowing that it's about demography. So if I don't go into many opportunities to meet women in my life, in my real life, on the street and so on, and that was not the case, then I have to do something, you know, to give the universe the possibility to have possibility for meeting partnerships. Okay, so basically it was by this idea mainly, and I had no idea at that time, 5 years ago, I had no real idea what am I looking for. So when I met a girl, I was not really getting an idea of what I was looking for, and therefore I was not really determined, yeah, that's a good word, determined to enter any deeper relationship. So yeah, and that had something to do with myself, that I was not clear about my past life. I had lived 40 years and had experience in, let's say, one relationship, so my girlfriend, which I married and lived with 24 years, and I had not the experience to say, okay, that did not work. What am I looking for, you know? Yeah. So in that time, I spent a lot of free time at home, playing on my computer. So mostly role-playing games. I enjoyed role-playing games, online role-playing games, massively multiplayer role-playing games, very much because they were supporting a kind of fantasy also, and you met real people in online areas to discuss with them sometimes about interesting topics. A friend of mine also joined, so we had, let's say, a real life friend playing together. So that was also something which I have done. Basically, it was a time how to make something out of the time. Okay, so not doing nothing, but doing something which is a little bit giving, let's say, a good mood. Okay. So yeah, during the COVID time, that was already in 2022. Yeah, I found a vlogger in YouTube that was Bihari Viki in Hungarian. She's a Hungarian vlogger. Bihari Viki promoted self-discovery path. So she, in her life, she did a self-discovery path. Based on that experience, she promoted self-discovery for everyone. And she promoted especially a tool which is called psychodrama in Hungarian, so psychodrama. It's I read it as it's a Spanish tool developed for inner work, and it has defined rules, and there are teachers and groups in every country around the world for psychodrama. It's an official tool. Also, all students who are learning on the university for psychologist future, they have to absolve one of these classes to be able to absolve their degree, as I know. So basically, I enrolled onto a season at that time. So in 2022, end of 2022, I enrolled on a season. That means 15 months, because one day per month, and 15 months is one season of a psychodrama in a group. And I enrolled it and I completed it. So it lasted 1.5 years approximately. And on the other hand, this vlogger lady, Bihari Vicky, mentioned a writer, a psychiatrist, doctor in the United States, Lindsay C. Gibson. This lady wrote a book about her experiences in her doctoral praxis. This book is called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. Okay? And Bihari Vicky promoted this book as being very good. And I thought, okay, let's get this and read it. And it was a very big change, a turnaround point for my life in October 2022 when I read this, because after that moment when I read this book, I was exchanged. I was living a very different mindset in my life. So basically, you know, this book, when I was reading, I quickly realized that it fits precisely with my partnership experiences and the ideas of the background why this partnership did not work, in my opinion. And since it fit very much, I read it to the end, and let's say 1/3 of the book was a new information for me, and it extended my knowledge basically. And I had a rebirth experience by reading that book. And this psychiatric, Lindsay C. Gibson, writes in the book about this, that people can have a rebirth experience in her praxis by getting to know critical information to their life. So I had that, I felt that, and let's say I remember I was so happy to find that rebirth feeling in myself and the understanding why, in general, partnerships might go wrong, that I invited my sister. I have an elder sister. She's the eldest, the three of us. So I have an elder sister and a younger brother. Three of us are siblings. And I invited her, and she came to me the next day, and I explained to her this very good information. Yeah, it was not really having a positive effect on our relationship, as it turned out half a year later. but anyway, so I was having an euphorical moment of having an understanding about partnerships, and therefore about life, which is worth of sharing, that I had 2 years ago, actually. So from that moment, you can understand that it really, let's say, was a moment where everything changed in myself. I was living a very different mindset. So let's say the goal, the aim of my life changed. So I knew precisely at that moment, 2 years ago, that my focus is on finding and maintaining meaningful connection, okay? Meaningful, what is meaningful? For everybody it's different, and that's okay. I knew at that time that, let's say, for me, life is empty. The space is empty without meaningful discussions. So if I have somebody around me with whom I cannot do, for any reason, meaningful discussions, meaningful means deep at some times. So of course we will small talk about what happened during the day. But every one of these occasions is a possibility for both of us to go deeper into our own emotions, feelings, and ideas about life, and we are open to discuss it, because it's not a bad feeling to discuss this with the partner. We are open, we are opening up towards each other. And if I meet someone on the street, or at my workplace, or in the family, or in my private life, it's irrelevant for me. It's that the question is, am I able, if the possibility arises, to make a meaningful moment out of it for both of us, okay? Do I have the feeling, and can I see the reaction that there is a joint, mutual, good feeling in discussing, okay? I knew, 2 years ago I knew that. You know, and of course I was focusing on that, and that brought me also realization that what am I looking for in a partner? So I knew in October 29th, the world changed. In 2022, the world changed, and I knew what I'm looking for in a partner. I knew that basically I would like somebody who invested time in self-discovery efficiently during her past life. Efficiently meaning I can see the result, so she is open to discuss, and she is not closed like this, you know. And she wants to continue her own self-discovery path together with me. We are not doing something for the other self-discovery path. We are just open, and the openness results in some conflicts which we discuss, and then there is some results and some development, some changes in life which I make for my life. I don't do this, I do more sports, or I do yoga, or I don't know, I do something which develops me, okay? So that was a great moment to have realized, because from that moment I did not spend so much time on the online dating app. It was very quick. I instantly looked at the profile and I knew nothing. Somebody shows from herself certain information, that's a red flag, that nobody will show such information who is having a mindset which is the fitting for me, okay? So it was a very efficient one. And yeah, long story short, half a year later, a lady gravitated into my life who was, from the profile, was exactly fitting, and also from real life was exactly fitting for what I was looking for. I was having the best time of my life. At that point in time. Okay, but not going forward. So I got an idea, because of this rebirth experience, to delve into philosophical studies. So I studied philosophical people like Seneca, sayings of Seneca, and it resulted of me buying a book of Ken Wilber, who is, let's say, who I learned, let's say, had done a lot for nowadays philosophical, let's say, state-of-the-art thinking, because he combined all the 8 great fields of beliefs on earth, and brought them into an integral, it's called integral theory, integral of whole life, integrates everything, Christianity, Buddhism, Muslim, everything on earth is integrated in this theory. And I read a book from him, which is a very good book, because it's written for let's say beginners like me. So somebody who never read any philosophical book. He had worked more decades, 20, 30 years for having this realization, and he wrote it in a small book, which is called A Brief History of everything. And this small book is written for anybody to be able to understand who has some let's say life experience, and it does not need any philosophical experience. So I would recommend, if anyone is interested in his idea about how the world, the universe, and in it everything from matter to people work with the spiritual and material world together, then read this book, please. So I read this, and it made many important realizations, and yeah, basically it changed my life as well. It brought also the partnership, which started in February 2023 with my last partnership, my girlfriend. The partnership also brought me many new aspects to spirituality and information, which where I did grow. So she was let's say more advanced, much more advanced in spirituality than I was. I was at the bottom, okay? You have to imagine. And I learned a lot due to her presence and due to the tools which she mentioned to me or surprised to me as a present, like the Osho tarot cards, okay? So I began to use these tools, and I developed on my own, in my own mind. So, okay, that was 5 years ago, and approximately that area of my life. And now, where I was 1 year ago, okay? So 1 year ago, in the September-October period of last life, I was on top, okay? So if you know the song On Top, then I was there, okay? I was on top. I had full drive in my private and business life. Full drive. I was very efficient, very successful, very happy in my private and business life. I had the best partnership era of my life. We were together already since 7 months with this girlfriend of mine, and we jointly deepened our relationship. So continually opening up in front of each other and working through the occasional stressful situation. So there, I don't believe in partnerships because I had one where there is no stress at all. So I had one partnership for 24 years, there was no stress, but I know it was not good because it meant I was not opening up my problems and my issues. I was putting everything in myself, and that was good like this. It was my life and I had to go through it. I know now, but I believe in partnerships where there is sometimes occasional stressful situation, which is discussed afterwards. Or if not, the partnership is jointly on both ends, feeling that it was handled correctly. Okay, I think that's my idea, my belief from a healthy partnership. So I moved into her flat already. So 1 year ago, we lived together 1 month already in her flat with her 6-year-old little son. So 3 of us in a flat. And it worked pretty well. We lifted each other and enjoyed this connection. It was my first partnership, actually, where we had, let's say, all 3 areas of connection. So not only sexual, not only intellectual, or not only soul or emotional topics which we could share together, but all of 3. So that was my first partnership, and I knew that I missed some of these in my previous relationship, okay? So I knew that, and I was very happy to have them here. So this worked really well, and let's say we discussed a lot and had an assertive approach of solving conflicts, okay, as I explained. So because the aim was always to gain knowledge about ourselves in these stressful situations. And I had the impression, and clearly, that we always, in this situation, both of us realized some, let's say, flaws in our own thinking, okay? So realizing a flaw in my own thinking, it means I can work on that if I decide to. And that is seen in actions. If I'm not working on that, that's also seen in action. So it's not enough for a partner to admit, that was my fault. The question is, what is reality? What is the chronology? Is there afterwards a change in actions? Or is it forgotten, okay? So, let's say, afterwards, I know that there was one point after 2 months of our partnership in the springtime where she mentioned she would not like to discuss about ideas so much, rather live life, focus on the moment and not discuss so much about theory, okay? And at that time, I did not give it much attention because I accepted it as her desire, her wish, as a partnership focus, living daily life and not discussing about theories of life and why things work as they work. And it was okay for me and it did not disturb me. But afterwards, now, as I'm thinking on the complete partnership, I realize that, let's say, I never invited for discussing what is my goal and her goal with this relationship, the goal. We did not discuss the goal. We did not discuss many important, let's say, personal beliefs about life, like priorities. What are my priorities in persons? What are my priorities in topics in life? Is my daughter more important to me as my partner or not? Or what are my visions? What are my values? What are my beliefs? So we did not discuss many things. And I think my issue, which I had to learn in life, that I have to invest more time in getting to know a certain partner before entering a partnership. Because if not, I can have surprising results, as I will explain soon. So basically, yeah, you can see that there was a let's say this situation meant that basically we did not open up about certain topics. And I think that was the reason for a major downfall of some kind at the end of our relationship. After 16 months, this ended, this relationship, okay? But our life together 1 year ago had many positive effects on our individual private and business life. So like this was due to the fact that we always discussed in detail about our family and business issues and daily experiences. So every one of us, let's say, discussed very openly and freely about these daily issues. And of course, when I shared about my family issues, she reflected about her experience, and it helped me to understand my family issues. And I think I also gave her from my experience out of my family cases, which helped her to understand her family issues. So that's an example for you to say that opening up and discussing openly helps both of us. Okay? And I was having a very much success with all my private and business life due to this circumstance that she helped me a lot. And that's why one year ago I decided that I will propose to her, and I started to make an arrangement for a special ring to be crafted for this purpose in September, 1 year ago. So 1 year ago, that was a decision for me that I would like to marry her if he wants, okay? If she wants. Yeah. So I did my psychodrama classes for my self-development, and I also did other self-development groups, because basically enlightenment about my own mind was important to me. So my girlfriend brought me into, let's say, enlightenment about the spiritual topics, and she brought me also to tools, like other tools, which are not the official tools for working on oneself, but let's say that they are available on the market. And these, let's say, due to these facts, I started visiting kinesiologist, to call in English, and also to visit family constellation groups. In these groups, we work together in these family constellation groups. So she also came with me, my girlfriend, and she worked on her topics, and I worked on my topics openly. So that was also a very good thing. And I started a quigong training. This is a martial arts kind of East topic for meditation and physical training, mind, energy, body health. And let's say I started using the Osho tarot cards for the Osho, let's say, Zen knowledge of entering into in my life. And it helped me a lot. Osho tarot cards helped me a lot to understand my feelings in daily life. Why do I feel at this moment like I feel? Let's put a card, and I read the card, and it described exactly the situation and what is the reason, so I could evaluate how to approach next time. You know, Osho tarot cards. Yeah, so all of these things I pursued very enthusiastically. So basically, because it was improving my life week from week. So basically, for example, in the quigong, the meditation practices which I have done weekly, 2, 3, 40 times a week, led to, let's say, in a few months, led to the ability to being able to meditate in walking. During walking, I could meditate during walking. And let's say also in other situations, I could, in stressful situations, I could go inside and remain there, react, but being still inside and able to think logically and not giving myself to the stressful reactions which I could have made. Okay, so it was I was growing from these situations, and I had the experience that my girlfriend grew as well. So she also was very successful in this period of vivering together in her private and business life, because we had an effect, I think, on each other, a very positive effect. Okay. So apart from these, let's say the last 2 months, we had blissful time together. Okay, so we mentioned, even we mentioned to each other, so she mentioned to me and I mentioned to her, there is no one in my life who knows me better than you do. You are the one who is knowing me better than anyone in my life. There is no relative, nobody, because nobody was interested and was honestly sharing for me, so basically we had a joint discussion about this, and that's why I think it was real, both of us. Okay, yeah, that was 1 year ago. Let's say a little outlook. Where was I 1 year ago, and where am I now? That's my last topic for today. So today you can see it on myself. I got drive, I got enthusiasm for entering a new season, death of the past, so I left behind many things, and beginning of something new. Because let's say an unknown future draws me. I like it. The unknown future, I have a vision, and I sent it to the universe months ago. I do not care about it. I know that this will come sometime. and I'm having an unknown future, and I'm happy with it. I do not like to know my future. I live step by step by following myself and giving my life into the hands of the universe, into the hands of the creator, of the God, how you can call it how you would like. I'm following my hints, which I believe are the hints of my higher self, who is not here on earth, but who knows much more than I do. And he is providing me through my, let's say, intuition, the tasks for my life. For example, today morning, I used the vacuum cleaner to clean the floor because I had the feeling that it's time. That's an intuition as well. If I feel to punch the bag for some time, it's an intuition. Okay, and if I feel to be doing this kind of translational video for one of my podcasts, it's also because I feel it's right to do. So I live life, I do only things which I feel it's right to do. And I remain only in surroundings where I feel it's right for me. And that you can call it egoism. I don't call it egoism. It's kind of self-respect, okay? It's a self-respect. So I would enthusiastically promote everyone in the world to have, in order to have self-respect, to look into their life, whether the boundaries which they are setting in their daily life are appropriate. Okay, that's a simple looking at it today, and if it's appropriate, check mark and go on. And this is a topic which I mentioned today afternoon in a vodcast. In the 5th vodcast of mine, I will talk about spirituality in practical, okay? What are, from my perspective, practical little simple knowledges, which if you know it, you can have a better life from this moment on. And you do not need to visit any classes. And I think that's the important. If I become any knowledge, which is instantly I can apply it because I understand it, and it looks more promising than what I look in my life. That's the question. So one has to be aware what is going on in my life. Okay, so this gives me the drive. You can understand that I have a motivation. I'm a light worker. I'm working with a vision that sometime on earth, everything will be handled in the understanding of love. And I treat everyone so as I would like to be treated. And that's true for everyone living on earth. That's my vision. And for that vision, I'm doing these little videos and my information about how to improve each one's daily life by his own. Not waiting for a teacher, not waiting for a guru. I'm not a guru. I'm not a teacher. I'm a nobody, okay? I have an opinion, and my truth is my own truth. And if you are interested, you can hear it. If not, if it does not fit you, you do not have to argue with me. Just move on. Leave it to them who are interested, okay? It's nothing. I will not fight with anyone about my truth because I know that it's only my truth, okay? It works for me and you can take it or leave it. It's so simple. So, where am I now? Why am I now in this situation? My beautiful partnership ended in June. That was 3 months ago. It ended. And let's say I realized that in the last 2 months of our partnerships, living together brought some kind of stress for my fiancé. She could not explain it to me. So I just realized that we solved the stress, and then one day or 2 days or 1 week later, she again is let's say, in some kind of mental prison, and I don't know, the living became gradually colder. And even today, I don't know what was the issue, because we had communication breakdowns. So basically, I do not tell you an example, but we could not discuss in that period the reasons on both sides openly. It was always a heated argument, and after this heated argument, she closed off and remained silent, and I stood there and knew nothing, just looked at her face and saw that I made something wrong, but I don't know what shit I made wrong, so I don't know what to think about. So you can imagine that that's a situation where everything gets cold, and let's say, I did not felt the honest interest towards me at that time anymore from her, and let's say, okay, during these occasions I entered, because it was stressful, I entered my meditative state, also as a preventive measure, because I realized that I stepped on some kind of button of her, and I entered the meditative state every time I sensed that let's say, she was not interested in me. When I sensed she just did something where I sensed she was not interested in me, talking to me without real interest in me. I mean, for example, if somebody talks to me without real interest in me, I can sense it. I can sense it. And you know, in a partnership, if I sense no real interest, it disturbs me and I go into my meditative state. And that's my protection. I do not like to feel sad at home, okay? So I go meditative state and I find something to do which joys me. Playing my guitar, whatever, reading a book. It makes me more joy than being present and see that I'm not respected or not taken as being existent, okay? So basically, this was a two-way thing. We both did something. It was we both did something that did not work. Because I did not tell her that I have gone into meditative state, so she could look at me and say, oh, I'm not interested in her. And she's right. Because when you are in a meditative state, let's say your attention to everything is much lower. Because I waited for signs of real interest and honest approach. And until there was no such sign, I remained in my meditative state and gave maybe some short answers, which was an answer, but really did not delve into my depths. And that was for my protection. So let's say I was not open in that phase, and I think that was a mistake, because discussing openly about what I feel, I tried, but our vocabulary did not fit. So when I tried to explain, she did not understand, because some words mean different things. So like, I always told her, I do not feel that we are connecting when we discuss, but connecting is a different word than intimacy. And finally, at the last days, I came to realize that was the word which caused that she did not understand that I was missing intimacy. 2 months it took where I was missing intimacy. I just had connection, and I shit for connection. In a partnership, I do not need connection. Maybe for starting a conversation. Connection can be anything. The weather, I don't know. Connection is anything. But in a partnership, just living on connecting with each other day in, day out, that's an information level which it disturbs me already. So I cannot stand it. I need intimacy. Intimacy means also maybe touching, but also sharing some personal mood, opinion, ideas. So intimacy is the word which I was missing from my vocabulary. I had to learn it the hard way because she quitted me, and I think it was a communication issue. So we are not together right now. I don't know why, but I suspect that it's a communication issue. Neither I nor she could not communicate the problems which we have seen in that partnership, okay? But now I understand it and I can use it for my next partnership, you know. So I'm very happy to have this back hindsight and information now, because I realize what was the key contributor on my side. And that's important for me. I do not like to blame anyone. Nobody is to blame. I don't blame anyone who I don't know the past. And I don't know the past of no one. I just know the past of myself. So I'm caring for my stuff. So I share with you that, let's say our partnership was ended in June. It was ended in a phase of my life where I had also a very curious situation with my family, my parents and my siblings. Because I realized that they do not support my pursuit of truly independent life. So I arranged already half year, 1 year, my independent life from them financially and every strand. And they do not support. I had to realize that it was not openly discussed, but in the actions I have seen they do not support my independent life. So I knew that, let's say, without compromising myself, I cannot rely on them. So if that was the situation, let's say, when I have this realization, I did not push my independency further with my family, but I turned my back on them. So I said, okay, I see you are not settling this accord, so it's okay, then it's a goodbye. And I turned my back on them. I took a bit farther away to not disturb myself with their actions. So I accept them. They are okay. They are nothing wrong with my parents and my siblings. They are okay. It's just not compatible with my way of thinking of love, family, and correctness, okay? It's not compatible, and it's not a problem on their side. Maybe it's a problem on my side, but it does not matter. It's not a question whether it's a problem. It's the question whether I sense if it's okay for me or not. And it was not okay for me, and I turned my back on them. And let's say I turned my attention just to people since then, since June, where I have the feeling that there is mutual freedom, and being on the same status, okay? So I do not like the feeling of being superior. I'm not a guru, I tell you, I'm not a guru, okay? And I do not like the feeling if somebody is talking to me like a guru or like a parent. So if a sibling is talking to me like a parent, or if a partner, a girlfriend or a wife is talking to me like a parent, or if my parent, who is 70 years old, is talking to her or his 40-year-old child as a parent still, and not accepting that he is an independent adult living his own life, then I have a problem with it, sorry. So I just concentrating on people of having the feeling of same status and the mutual freedom of doing and saying and acting as one should like. So if my girlfriend told me to go away, I go away. She told me. Huh? So basically, in this situation of private family and girlfriend, she came home, returning home on a normal work day like this, sunny. Not Saturday, of course, but on a Wednesday, I think it was a Wednesday. She came home, I looked at her and sensed there is disturbance. So I asked her, and she told me she's very happy to have this joint time with me. I gave very much to her and she appreciates that. Thank for that. She thanked me. And in the next sentence, she told me she leaves me. It's the final end of everything. She gave back to me the ring, and I have to go instantly away. And she was saying nothing more, just looking at me. So that was a situation where I realized, okay, she is free to select any way she would like. She selected it. Okay, let's do it. So I packed all my shit. It took 5 hours on Wednesday evening. It took until almost midnight to fill my car with all my belongings from her flat, okay? And I drove away with all my belongings, and let's say I did not know where to go because I had no own flat. And that was the situation. It was pure luck that, let's say, one of my friends was, let's say, advertising 2 days already his flat to be rented. And I knew that and wrote him in the night that please call me next day if the flat is still to be rented because I need a flat now. So he visited next day afternoon his flat and he gave me the keys without any contract so I could sleep in this nice flat. I like it very much. In the next day, so it was a pure luck that I did not landed on the streets and had to sleep in a car or on the park on a lawn, okay? So yeah, that was end of June. And yeah, this was a surprise turn in my love life, which got me unprepared and into a dire situation. That was very good. In afterwards, you can see the explanation why, but it was like this. I was in a dire situation. It resulted in several dark nights of souls for myself, in which I worked on my own in my internal feelings and thoughts to resolve this trauma. This road had many sections from June, July, August, September till now, okay? It brought many important realizations for myself. Why do I get into such situation? Why do I have a surprise? Why I did not expect something like this? What was my fault in this, okay? So for example, these sections include a realization that I have an issue in a partnership with giving unconditional love, because I gave love until I felt it returned, and when I did not felt it returned, I did not say nothing, but I meditated and withheld my love. That's not an unconditional love. You know, I realized that I was not acting according to my beliefs. Wow, what a realization, you can imagine. Instantly, I asked a good friend, please recommend for me somebody in the church to explain me about what unconditional love is in the Bible. So you can see something like this. I had worked on my feelings and emotions and experiences to realize, and let's say by talking to a preacher, a good preacher man, 1 hour, about the I think it was Joseph's part of the Bible, 4 pages about unconditional love, I understood what were the issues. And let's say, read into Christian philosophy brought me to the conclusion, and a good friend of mine helped me to accept Christ, to accept the existence of Christ somewhere. Somewhere Christ exists, and I accepted him as an existing entity in the spiritual realm. And that opened up myself, because accepting Christ is opening oneself up to the fact that all beings of earth were forgiven by God due to Christ's suffering. And his most beloved Son was offered for all humanity, that they are free of guilt, anytime, any place. So in this moment, when I have made some guilt, I punched my dog as I shouldn't be, I feel guilty. I know, of course, I will treat her differently, because I realize it's not good to erupting like this for example. This is an example. But basically, I should not blame myself for eternity because all my guilt was forgiven. God is only looking for my actions. So the Creator, the universe, the God would like to see in my daily life that I act according to love, according to unconditional love. And if I don't act, then He gives me signs that show me that I did not act according to unconditional love, so I should be aware of those signs and change my life. That's how it works. So let's say I found my voice, my inner voice to my higher self, and this voice guides me in the Creator sense, in the Creator sense, not the church sense, in the Creator sense. The church is existing some millennia. The Creator is existing for long time more. And the Creator's rules for living, I explained in my previous podcast. You can see the difference. The Creator tells you, you are free and independent. You can live according to light or you can live according to dark, but you will earn your karmic results in your life if you do that. You can select. It's a free game for you, but you will never be enlightened to go on from earth into spiritual realms if you are not walking in the light, not just believing and knowing what is light, but you have to walk in light. And then on your path, you will get to the realizations about your own beliefs and mind. Yeah, so I regard all in my life. Up to this point, I know that everything which happened in my life had to come this way. That was good for me because I always found out, maybe later, but important information about myself which I would not have found out if my life would be different. So basically, that's my opinion about life. And let's say now I can clearly see all the poisonous people around me who are driven by minds, thoughts of the dark, because they are allowing dark entities into their thoughts. And I can sense these people around me. So in every surrounding, it doesn't depend where I go, I can sense the people having dark thoughts based on their many visible signs and sayings and anything which they do, act, how they act, how not, okay? That's everything for me. It works like this. So if I have a realization about myself, if you have a realization about yourself, then you will have this opportunity as well. So I invite you to work on yourself on. Your self-discovery path is a never-ending path. Your self-discovery path always goes on if you walk it. If you walk it. So I invite you to use all the information which you get from anywhere, also my information, to decide. Maybe you would like to try out this or that. Yeah. Okay. So let's say I can sense those people around me who are not accepting me as I am right now. And let's say I love them as they are. They are okay. There is nothing wrong with anybody on earth. Everybody is right as they are. They have their role in my life and in their life. And they can go to those people who would like to meet with them and be near to them and have a same vibrational feeling of them. But I know that I have to keep those people who are not having the same vibration with me more far away, more further from myself. And this is in order not to hurt them or not to, it's to respect myself. So I respect myself if I respect my feelings about having to go in certain surroundings. So I have to change my borders, I realized. So I changed my borders. Okay, so that meant I had to say goodbye to certain surroundings, because increasing the distance to other ones is not only possible without changing. So let's say it resulted in remaining alone. So right now only very few friends, which are really good true friends, are visiting me or staying here, or I visit them, but I'm very glad to have them, and I'm very glad to able to differentiate between people. Okay, and many new positive contacts are opening up, let's say, in the world. So I meet people on the streets and in groups, and I see all those people who are honest and authentic. Authenticity is an important word. So people who do not hide behind stereotypes, but show honestly, okay, their own self and their life, their ideas, their thinking. They are authentic. I can sense, I can hear, you can also hear authentic people. And I concentrate on authentic people only. I do not like to hear news, but I can show in the news somebody who discusses the same things which he seen in the news all along, and he just looking news of one color, just light or just dark, or then he's not open to life. Life is everything. I have to incorporate. My task in my earthly life is to grow and incorporate everything which is existing, because everything is life. The Creator created everything. So basically, if I having an issue with something or somebody, then that means I have to go inside and look, what is the issue in my mind? Okay, so basically, yeah, it's a death of an old life and the start of a new life. The death meant that I filed my resign from the company. So that was my first job in my life. After the university, I started here in this company, and 24 years later, now I resigned on 5th of September. So I currently are in the, let's say, period of leave period. So I closed my projects, and they said, okay, then you can stay. We will pay your time till the leave period, but you do not have to work. So currently I'm not unemployed. I'm still employed until December. So let's say, yeah, but I knew that this surrounding is not able where I can grow, and it is okay. The company is okay. The people are okay. Nothing wrong with them, but not possible for me to grow in that department, group, work, job, which I was offered. So I had to go. So I quitted. And my ideas about what I would like to do now and pursue as a final goal, as I mentioned, I shot up into the universe. The Creator knows what I would like to do, and He can decide if I am worthy of doing anything and what, and He will show me through my intuition. So step by step, following my guidance, I go towards the future. And let's say the Creator, God, the universe, will allow or grant me anything in this life, what is to be granted for me. And I'm waiting enthusiastically what comes next after this video, for example. So I pursue only things which make me happy. So I'm happy to hear with you now. I'm going a lot in nature, so I realized that one of the key aspects of incorporating the world is to not only live in a city, in a room, in a flat, on the asphalt, but go barefoot in the grass sometime, hug some trees sometime, because nature is filling up all the energy and draining all the negative energy from me, you know. And I do creative things like music, poetry, writing a book about my life and my truth. I'm very happy, and I like this very much, and I think I have much to do. So be prepared that I will share with you all that knowledge which I think is valuable for anyone who would like to improve his or her life, okay? Any age, you can start it anytime. These are simple things, really. And I will not only talk about spirituality, like today afternoon I have a podcast about spiritual things which you can use instantly, but I will talk about the way of living, how the proportions of living should look like to be on a healthy path, a healthy path to the future, okay? Because currently you can rely on medicaments until they are out of medicaments, until they will tell you this is a new disease where there is no solution. There are many, many friends and cases which go to the doctor until they tell there is no hope. And you know what? I don't need people telling me there is no hope. Not even doctors, okay? Nobody is in the position on earth to tell anybody there is no hope, because anyone can tell that. But the Creator thinks you can blame yourself and I can blame myself if I believe that I have no hope. So I would do shit to go into surroundings where finally somebody tells me or behaves like, because when I'm on the floor, and you know, I know, and others also know, that I'm in a desperate situation. When I'm on the floor and some people do me wrong in that period, I will always remember those people who did me wrong when I was on the floor, okay? So have hope. Have hope. There is hope. There is light. There are many, many people working globally to raise the frequency of the whole Earth population. And do not lose hope. There is hope. Have faith and have hope that there is a future, a better future. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice Sunday. Bye.